What if I told you that the single most powerful biological intervention for your blood sugar, your blood pressure, and your sleep is something you probably already did today?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy to think about.
Right. Only you likely did it at the completely wrong time of day, and almost certainly in the wrong shoes.
Which is exactly what we're going to get into.
Welcome to this custom-tailored deep dive. Today, we are taking an invisible, everyday activity, basically just putting one foot in front of the other, and we are putting it under a microscopic lens.
We really are. We've got a fascinating stack of sources to guide us today, too.
We absolutely do. I mean, we're pulling from everywhere. We've got a viral 2025 TikTok trend, hospital health blogs, and even some deep peer-reviewed medical literature out of Indonesia.
Right, because our mission here is to uncover the profound biological impact of walking.
Exactly. We're not just going to sit here and tell you to, get your steps in. That's boring. We are looking at exactly when you walk, how you walk, and what is physically happening to your cells when you do it.
Because we so often treat walking as just transit, right? It's just the background hum of daily life for most of us.
Just getting from the car to the office.
Exactly. But when you look at the precision of the behavior, the timing, the specific environment, the sensory input from your feet, it totally ceases to be just basic mechanics.
It becomes a highly targeted physiological tool.
It really does. It's incredibly powerful.
So let's start with a term that absolutely took over social media in early 2025. A Toronto cookbook author named Marilyn Smith coined her post-dinner routine the fart walk.
Yes, the infamous fart walk.
It's hilarious, but millions of people suddenly started treating a simple 15-minute stroll after eating like it was this, cutting-edge biohack.
Well, it is a highly memorable term for a very robust and honestly very ancient piece of science.
Really? How ancient are we talking?
Oh, very. Medically, we call this postprandial walking, which just means taking a light stroll within an hour or so after a meal.
Postprandial. Okay, got it.
Right. And long before we had continuous glucose monitors or TikTok trends, cultures around the world intuitively understood this.
Like they just knew it worked.
Yeah, exactly. The Italians have the passeggiata, right? And in India, there's the ancient custom of Shadapawali, which specifically dictates taking exactly 100 steps after eating.
Wow, exactly 100.
Yeah. There's even an old Chinese proverb that claims taking 100 steps after a meal will let you live to 99.
Okay, let's unpack this because I want to break down the mechanics of why this works, starting with the very blunt viral name.
Sure, let's get into the digestion side of it.
Yeah, like what is physically happening in the gut during a 10-minute stroll that relieves all that bloating?
So light physical activity right after you eat actively stimulates gastrointestinal motility.
Okay, so it gets things moving.
Exactly. Think of your digestive tract like a tube of toothpaste.
A tube of toothpaste, okay.
When you walk, the physical movement activates peristalsis. Those are these wave-like muscle contractions that essentially squeeze the tube, so to speak.
Oh, so you're literally squeezing the food through your system.
Right, and it also triggers something called the gastrocolic reflex. Together, these actions actively speed up gastric emptying.
Which means the food doesn't just sit there.
Exactly. You are actively helping your body move trapped gas and digest food through the system rather than, just letting it sit stagnant while you lounge on the couch.
That makes intuitive sense for digestion, for sure. But the sources point to something even more impactful happening in the bloodstream, right?
Oh, absolutely. The blood sugar data is incredible.
Because studies from 2009, 2013, 2017, and there's a massive review in 2022, they all show that this specific post-meal timing blunts blood sugar spikes.
It does. It fundamentally changes how your body handles the food.
So let me float a theory here.
Yeah.
If you eat a heavy meal and sit down, that glucose just hits your bloodstream, and your pancreas has to frantically pump out insulin to deal with it, right?
Yes, exactly. That's huge stress on the pancreas.
But if you walk, your leg muscles are basically acting like a sponge. They're soaking up that blood glucose directly and bypassing the need for extra insulin entirely, like a VIP fast pass for blood sugar.
That is a perfect analogy, yes.
Yeah.
The muscles demand immediate energy to contract.
Because you're moving.
Right. So they pull glucose directly out of circulation to use as fuel, completely independent of insulin. Your pancreas gets a massive break.
That is wild.
And the impact is so dramatic that a 2013 study found something really surprising. Taking 3 short 15-minute walks right after meals improved 24-hour glycemic control in older adults significantly better than taking a single, continuous 45-minute walk in the morning.
Wait, hold on.
Yeah, it challenges a lot of assumptions.
We have always been told that getting your big, sweaty workout done first thing in the morning is like the ultimate health move.
Right, the early bird gets the worm mentality.
Yeah. But if you're looking at blood sugar, breaking it up into tiny 15-minute chunks after you eat is actually superior.
It is. Because for glycemic control, the timing of the intervention has to match the timing of the stressor.
And the meal is the stressor.
Exactly. An hour of cardio at 6 a.m. does not help your body process a massive bowl of pasta at 8 p.m.
Wow. That is a total reframe of how to structure exercise.
It really is. It changes the whole paradigm.
So evening post-meal walks are the undeniable champions of digestion and blood sugar.
Without a doubt.
But this is where the science gets incredibly layered, because we have a 2022 study out of Indonesia looking at type 2 diabetes patients, and it completely flips the script.
It does, depending on what outcome you're looking for.
Right, because if we shift our focus from blood sugar to deep cellular repair, the morning walk has a completely different superpower.
It's entirely different. To understand what a morning walk does, we have to look at oxidative stress.
Okay, oxidative stress.
Think of oxidative stress like cellular rust. Every single day, your body produces free radicals.
Which are bad, right?
Yeah, they're unstable molecules that roam around causing cellular damage and inflammation. It's the biological equivalent of, like, oxygen rusting the metal on a car.
Oh, that paints a rough picture.
Yeah, but your body fights this with an internal rust-proofing department, which are antioxidants.
Okay, so rust and rust proofing.
Exactly. Now, this Indonesian study took 22 patients and had them do a 10-week moderate-intensity walking and gymnastics routine.
And they split them into two distinct groups, right?
They did. One group exercised in the morning between 7 and 8 a.m.
Okay.
The other group did the exact same routine, but in the afternoon between 4 and 5 p.m.
And the results? Because both groups improved overall, right?
Both groups improved, yes. But the data showed a massive divergence based entirely on the clock.
Just from the time of day.
Just from the time. The morning group saw a significantly greater increase in a vital antioxidant enzyme called GPX1.
GPX1, okay.
And they also saw a much greater decrease in something called MDA.
What's MDA?
MDA, or malondialdehyde, is basically the rust flakes we can measure in your blood. It's a marker of lipid peroxidation, which means direct cellular damage.
So the morning walkers had less rust and more rust proofing.
Significantly more, yeah.
I am struggling to understand why the clock dictates how well my body fights off cellular rust. Like, what is the mechanism making 7 a.m. so profoundly different from 4 p.m.?
It all comes down to circadian rhythms. Your body's redox system, balance of rust and rust proofing, operates on a strict biological clock.
So it's not active all the time.
Not equally, no. Our endogenous built-in antioxidant systems are naturally primed and most efficient in the early morning.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and if you exercise in the late afternoon, you can increase adrenaline and plasma-free fatty acids, which can actually cause a temporary spike in oxidative stress.
So an afternoon workout creates more rust.
Temporarily, yes. But in the morning, you are stacking your exercise on top of your body's peak antioxidant defenses.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though. Looking at the data in the sources, there is a specific detail here that completely threw me.
I think I know what you're going to say.
The study points to melatonin levels at 8 a.m. as the driving force behind this cellular repair.
Yeah, that catches a lot of people off guard.
Because, I take melatonin in gummy form on long flights to knock me out. We are constantly told it's the sleep hormone.
Right, that's its main reputation.
So if my body is producing melatonin at 8 a.m., why aren't these morning walkers just passing out on the sidewalk?
Well, this requires a massive paradigm shift in how we view melatonin. We've totally pigeonholed it as a sleep drug.
Because it makes you tired.
It does help initiate sleep, but it is arguably the single most potent antioxidant in the human body.
Wait, really? Melatonin is an antioxidant?
It's an incredible antioxidant. And melatonin secretion is actually still occurring around 8 a.m. It doesn't drop off completely until later in the morning.
I had no idea it lingered that long.
It does. And because it's such a powerful rust proofer, and because it directly stimulates the production of other protective enzymes like that GPX1 we talked about.
So exercising while it's still present compounds the repair benefits.
Exactly. You aren't falling asleep, because the arousal chemicals of the morning, like cortisol, are waking you up.
Okay, that makes sense. The cortisol overrides the sleepiness.
Right, but that melatonin is still circulating, doing deep maintenance work on your cells.
That completely changes how I view my morning.
Hmm.
And, that early morning biological cocktail doesn't just happen in a vacuum.
No, it's highly dependent on what you're doing.
Right, it takes its cue directly from your environment. Which brings us to the research from metabolic psychology and SparkFall, because the trigger for that entire antioxidant system is the sun.
Sunlight is everything here.
Yeah.
Light is the primary metronome for your biological clock.
Metronome, I like that.
Yeah, when you step outside for a morning walk, natural sunlight hits your eyes and your bare skin. And that specific spectrum of morning light, which is rich in UVA rays, triggers a cascade of neurochemical events.
It triggers the production of serotonin, right?
Exactly, serotonin.
And we usually call serotonin the happy chemical for mood. But in this context, it acts like a biological alarm clock.
It does. It actively suppresses that lingering melatonin we were just talking about, signaling to the brain that the deep repair shift is over and it is finally time to be alert.
And the morning walk is also doing double duty for your sleep cycle later that night, which is wild.
Oh, the temperature drop mechanism, yes.
Yeah, because when you walk, you raise your core body temperature.
Right, movement generates heat.
And when that temperature eventually drops, roughly 14 hours later, it sends a vital physiological signal to your brain that it is time to initiate sleep.
Which the SparkFall research notes leads to much deeper, more restorative stages of sleep.
So it's like stepping outside at 8 a.m. essentially hits a reset button on a 14-hour biological stopwatch.
That's a great way to think about it. It dictates exactly when you will feel tired that night.
So if you're lying in bed at midnight, staring at the ceiling, the problem might actually be that you didn't get sunlight and movement at 8 a.m.
Exactly. Contrast that with someone who does a vigorous, high-intensity workout at 8 p.m.
Oh, they're heating themselves up right before bed.
Exactly. They are keeping their core body temperature artificially high and suppressing melatonin right when they need it most. They are actively fighting their own biology.
And if you extend that walk to midday, the light spectrum shifts again, doesn't it?
It does. It shifts from UVA to UVB rays.
And what does UVB do?
When UVB hits bare skin, your body synthesizes vitamin D. And as the metabolic psychology source points out, we really need to stop thinking of vitamin D as just a vitamin you get from milk.
It's more than that.
It acts as a major hormone in the body. It supports brain chemistry, mitochondrial function, and reduces inflammation. And when you synthesize vitamin D endogenously, meaning your own body makes it from the sun, it is perfectly synchronized with your circadian function.
Okay, so we have the timing completely dialed in here. Evening walks for digestion and acting as a glucose sponge.
Right.
Morning walks for circadian rhythm, mood, and rust-proofing your cells.
Exactly.
But this brings up another fascinating variable, the actual ground beneath our feet.
Oh, the Indonesian nursing study. This is fascinating.
It really is. It's a 2026 nursing study from Motorejo village in Indonesia, and it focuses on exactly how we walk.
Yeah, this study takes a concept that sounds a bit alternative, walking barefoot.
Yeah.
And subjects it to rigorous clinical measurement.
And the setup was pretty straightforward. Researchers took 31 patients suffering from hypertension.
High blood pressure.
And they had them walk barefoot on dirt or soft sand for 30 minutes every morning for a single month.
And just to be incredibly clear on this, there were no changes to their blood pressure medication.
None at all.
No massive dietary overhauls, just taking their shoes off and walking in the dirt for half an hour.
And the magnitude of the results is staggering.
It's almost hard to believe.
Before the month started, nearly 65% of these patients were stuck in stage I hypertension.
Right.
After just 1 month, over 2/3 of them had stepped themselves completely out of that category, dropping down into pre-hypertension. Both their systolic and diastolic blood pressure plummeted.
It's incredible. It forces us to ask how simply removing a piece of rubber from the bottom of your foot alters the pressure inside your arteries.
Exactly. So what does this all mean? I'm trying to wrap my head around this. Is the benefit purely physical, like the earth is mechanically massaging those receptors and sending a physical signal up the leg?
Mm-hmm.
Or is it a psychological grounding effect where feeling sand makes you feel like you're on a beach so your stress drops?
It's actually a direct neurological communication line. It's not just a feeling.
Really? How does that work?
So the varied, uneven textures of the earth stimulate sensory receptors on the soles of your feet, specifically mechanoreceptors and proprioceptors.
Okay.
Those sensory receptors in the feet are constantly talking to your central nervous system. When they're activated by the very textures of the ground, it causes a measurable decrease in sympathetic nervous system activity.
And the sympathetic system is our fight or flight response, right?
Exactly. The state that pumps out cortisol and adrenaline. And simultaneously, that sensory input increases parasympathetic activity, which is your rest and digest state.
So your feet touching the dirt literally tells your brain to calm down.
Yes. And that neurological shift changes the blood vessels.
Literally changes the vessels.
Literally. Shifting into that parasympathetic state causes vasodilation. Your blood vessels relax and widen, much like loosening a constricted garden hose.
Oh, wow.
This reduces total peripheral resistance, which immediately lowers your blood pressure.
It is genuinely wild to think that by encasing our feet in thick rubber and foam every single day, we are essentially severing a crucial communication line.
We really are. We're blindfolding the nervous system.
Depriving it of the sensory cues it evolved to rely on to regulate stress and blood pressure.
We evolved to interpret the ground. When we mute that input completely, the nervous system misses out on the very signals that historically kept our vascular system in check.
This changes everything about how we view a simple stroll. So let's pull all these scientific threads together and look at the guidance from the Erdem hospital source.
Right, let's make this actionable.
Yeah, I want to help you curate a personal strategy here because the second we bring up walking, the dreaded 10,000 step rule looms over everyone.
It's the golden number everyone fixates on.
It is. And if you are staring at your smartwatch at 9 p.m. and feeling profound guilt because you're only at 6,000 steps, let's look at what the data actually demands.
We absolutely need to dismantle the 10,000 step myth.
Please do.
Hitting 10,000 to 12,000 steps is an excellent target if your primary specific goal is active weight loss.
Correct.
But it is not the magical threshold for biological health. The data clearly shows that hitting between 7,000 and 8,000 steps a day yields massive cardiovascular and general health benefits.
That is a huge relief.
It's a highly realistic, sustainable goal for most adults.
I think that destroys that intimidating 10,000 steps or nothing mentality that causes so many people to just give up entirely.
Exactly. Consistency beats perfection.
Right. And if you take an intentional 15-minute fart walk after dinner to blunt your blood sugar, plus a morning stroll in the sun to set your circadian clock, hitting that 7,000 step sweet spot becomes incredibly accessible.
It just happens naturally throughout the day. But the strategy also needs to adapt to your environment.
Like the weather.
Yeah, like in the summer heat, you want to shift your longer walks to before 9 a.m. or after 6 p.m.
Yeah.
You still capitalize on the metabolic and circadian benefits, but you avoid the physical stress of overheating.
That makes sense. And what if someone can't walk barefoot safely? I mean, not everyone lives near pristine dirt paths or a sandy beach.
That's a very fair point.
If we have to wear shoes, how do we get as close to that natural mechanical benefit as possible?
Well, shoe choice becomes critical. You need proper arch support, obviously.
Sure.
And breathability is key so your feet don't overheat and swell. You want shock-absorbing soles for concrete environments. But perhaps most importantly, you need a finger's width of space between your longest toe and the front of the shoe.
A finger's width. So you aren't just jamming your toes into a narrow point, completely immobilizing the foot.
Exactly. You're allowing for the natural spread and flex of the toes, which mimics some of the neurological benefits we discussed with barefoot walking.
So you want the shoe to protect the foot from glass and concrete without acting like a plaster cast that paralyzes the foot's natural mechanics.
That's exactly it. Give your foot room to actually function like a foot.
What a journey. We started by looking at the digestive magic of the post-meal walk, using our leg muscles as a literal sponge to soak up glucose and give our pancreas a break.
A very well-deserved break.
Right. And then we explored the deep, rust-proofing power of the morning stroll, riding the wave of our circadian rhythms and that surprising morning melatonin.
Still blows my mind.
Same. And we looked at the profound blood pressure lowering effects of going barefoot and directly talking to our nervous system. And we saw how natural sunlight hits a 14-hour biological stopwatch for deep sleep.
It really highlights the sheer elegance of human physiology. Every system is talking to every other system.
That's all connected.
It is. But here is something else to think about as you go about your day. As we engineer our modern environments to be perfectly flat and climate controlled, and we design our shoes to be perfectly cushioned and supportive, we are actually starving our biology of the friction it needs to thrive.
Starving it of friction. Wow.
Friction, gravity, temperature variations, the uneven ground, these aren't the enemies of human health. They are the required signals for it. We've built a world of immense comfort, but we've made the very things that trigger our health incredibly inconvenient.
Walking is so basic, it's completely invisible to us, but maybe it's time we start seeing it for the powerful tool it actually is. You don't need to completely overhaul your life or hit 10,000 steps today, but ask yourself, what small piece of our evolutionary past can you reclaim tomorrow morning?
Just start small.
Exactly. Maybe it's a 10-minute stroll right after dinner or just stepping outside barefoot into the morning sun with your coffee. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Take these insights, step outside, and we'll catch you next time.